It's Mark again. Today, as you can see, I'm out of my little camera room and I've put myself in the conservatory. Today I'm just going to go through material that I use to inspire me to go out, take images, also material I use to answer any questions that may crop up during a shoot. Obviously these are going to be books and DVDs, so the first few books I'm going to show you are ones that I use to plan my shoots. So these, the first one is the Photographer's Guide to the Yorkshire Dales. There's a few of these now. I've got two, so I've got the Yorkshire Dales one and I've also got the Lake District one as well. I haven't used this one yet. This one has got some post-it notes attached to certain pages for future trips out. They're by a publisher called Long Valley Books, and the person who puts them together is E. Bowness. So yeah, I think they've done a few. I think they cover a lot of England, Scotland and Wales now. I mean, I've got these two, the Yorkshire Dales and the Peak District, because obviously they're close to me. So I like these because it goes through various places in Yorkshire. For example, Goredale Scar. Just turned it to Goredale Scar. It tells you how to get there, the type of shots you can look to capture when you're there, the best times to go to get the best shots, and just useful tips about where to park, refreshments and things like that. I mean, a lot of them, they are good. I mean, a lot of them you probably know about them already, but it's just handy if you're planning a day out in the Dales. You can plan this to do your trip. So I've got two. Really good. The other one which I picked up is called Landscape Treks, and it's called a photo location guidebook. This covers the whole of England, Scotland and Wales, and it covers all the different areas. It's being put together by a gentleman called Paul Allen. This is really good. It's quite a thick book, as you can see, and there's a lot of really useful information in this, especially if you do wild camping. He's put some useful tips of where to camp to get the better sunrise and sunsets. Also there's useful maps on there to tell you, you know, good places to stand to get a good shot. Really useful to plan a trip somewhere. I would recommend it. So they're the three that I used for just to plan. The ones that I use for inspiration, I think some of you will know these. I collect the Landscape of the Year. So Landscape Photographer of the Year. This is the new one. I think it came out beginning of this year. I love these books. I've collected them all from the start, and I think this is number 12. Really good for inspiration. Really good to look at how some of the professionals do it and their thoughts on what they hope to capture when they were there and how they went about capturing it. I look at these. I mean, these are, I'd call these coffee table books. So I would recommend looking at these. The older ones now, you can pick them up pretty cheap off eBay, and they're worth getting. The layout is they use different categories because it is a competition, this. So what they do is they put different categories in there, but the quality of the images in there is spot on, as you can see, and there's always a brief rundown at the side of the person who created the image, why he did it. Also useful at the back is what was used to get that image. So for example, it will tell you what camera was used, what the focal length was, what the shutter and aperture were, what the ISO was, and then it also gives you a brief rundown of how it was post-processed. and if there's any filters used. I like the NBIT because when you look at the image and then go and look at the technical information, you can see what the author of the image had in mind. So yeah, really good book, and I would recommend them. I also picked this one up as well last year, and this is Masters of Landscape Photography. And what this is just a book that has got some of the main landscape photographers around at the moment, and they've put their images together. So in here you've got things like Joe Cornish, obviously, Tom Mackie, Art Wolfe, David Norton, and then again it gives you a rundown. It gives you a brief description of what they hope to capture with the image, and then again further on it gives you the technical information. So it looks something like that. So it tells you underneath. I've just realised this one's been signed by Joe Cornish. Didn't realise that. I must have ordered it as special. So yeah, again, some of the images in here are spectacular, and it's just a book you can pick up and just have a look through and get some inspiration from, and some ideas, because some of the images, they are quite simple images, but they've been captured very well. So that's the Masters of Landscape Photography. The other two, which are these two here, were compiled by Lee Filters, and what they're called is Inspiring Professionals, the Landscape Photographer's Guide to Using Filters. And then they did a second one as well as a follow-on. I use Lee Filters, so I found this very useful because it showed you an image, for example, and then on the next page it explained what filter was used, where the filter was positioned in the frame, and what the outcome was. So if you are using filters, whether it's Lee or anything else, I would recommend picking this one up, or these two up, because it does give you an idea of how the professionals do use the filters. The other one is just a follow-on. It's a bit bigger, and again it's the same sort of thing. So it shows you an image, and then on the next page it tells you what filters were used and why they used it. So another one that I've picked up, which I found very useful, and I do find myself going back to it every so often when a question crops up while I'm on a shoot, is Lessons in Landscape, 80 Techniques to Taking Better Photos. This is by a gentleman called Peter Watson, and it has different categories or different sections in the book. So for example, chapter 1 is equipment and accessories, chapter 2 is technique, chapter 3 is composing the image, chapter 4 is using light, and so on. But again, there's a lot of detail in this book. So for example, I've just turned to it, and it's talking about emphasising the foreground. And it gives you examples, it tells you what filters were used to capture that image. It actually tells you where the image was caught as well, which is unusual for these type of books. Yeah, so this is the one that I do go back to now and again, especially this time of year when, you know, the light's not really good and you want to try something different. Yeah, so that's that. The last thing that I picked up a couple of years ago, and I have watched it a few times, is a DVD. This one was done by a Light and Land documentary, and It's called With Landscape in Mind, a photographic road trip with Joe Cornish. I like this. It's not often you see, apart from YouTube, it's not often you see a full-length documentary following a landscape photographer, and obviously this one's following Joe Cornish, so he knows his stuff. I found this useful for a few reasons, but the main one was his workflow. You know, when he got to a location, what did he do? And the thing I picked up was his pace. His pace was a lot slower than what I do. You know, he had an image in mind, he got there, he scouted the location, he found the best composition, and then he relaxed and got the image. Me personally, I struggle to do that. I get to a location, I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. I run round trying to take loads of different photos. So watching this has changed my workflow a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So yeah, so that's a DVD. I think there were another one as well. They did another one. I think it was called Chasing the Light or something like that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to pick a copy of that up. I might do and see what that's like. So this one's called With Landscape in Mind, and it's Joe Cornish. So they're the books that I look at from time to time. As you can see through the beginning of this short YouTube clip, I have plenty of other books on the bookshelf as well, but these are the ones that I seem to pick up most of the time, just to plan something, give me inspiration, give me some ideas. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a short one, thank God. I will be doing some more. I have got my new cameras, but unfortunately I haven't managed to get out with them yet. So please subscribe if you want to see some more, and obviously leave any comments. The books I've shown you in the DVD have nothing to do with any of the people who've wrote them, or you know, the publishers or anything like that. These are the ones that I've just picked up, and the ones that I pick up more than once. Magazines, I've got huggings of them, but I'll read them and they're just in a pile in the loft now. But these books are the ones that I do go back to and pick up just to get some tips. So yeah, so thank you. I'm going to put a couple of images at the end of this video, nothing major, because like I say, I haven't been out much over the Christmas period, but that will change, as you can see by this one here. There's a couple of little things in here. This one is Ilkley, so I'm planning on going on Ilkley, and my little sticker says day out with the family, so that's the plan, which will be in the next coming weeks. And this one is, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, it's Armscliffe Crag, which I think's near Otley, and that one just says sunset. So I'll be using this to get an idea of where to park, and I'll be using other apps on my phone to find out when the sunset is and where's the best position. But yeah, so these are very good, I have to say. I think I got them from Amazon. I might be wrong, but I'm sure I got them from Amazon. But yeah, this one and the Derbyshire one, Peak District, are really good.